Let's talk about something real. You ever get the feeling that some people just exist to test you? They interrupt when you speak. They toss little jabs wrapped in fake smiles. They treat your time like it's disposable. And somehow, you're the one expected to play it cool. Just nod. Be polite. Keep the peace. But what if you didn't? What if you stopped letting people walk all over your boundaries? If that's where your mind is lately, then this video is for you. We're not here to talk about yelling or snapping back. We're not stooping to their level. This is about something deeper. This is about strength, stillness, self-respect. 5 powerful ways to deal with people who don't respect you without losing your cool, without raising your voice, without lowering your standards. If you've been silently dealing with disrespect for too long, it's time to change that. And before we dive in, take a second and subscribe to Stoic Legacy. It costs nothing, but it helps this channel grow and reach more people who need this message. Alright, let's begin. Part 1. Embrace the silent stare. This one right here is personal. It's one of my favorite savage techniques because it works better than most people realize. Next time someone tries to rattle you, don't respond. Don't smile. Just look at them. Calm. Still. No blinking. No expression. Just a quiet stare that holds the moment in place. You're not reacting. You're not explaining. You're not giving them what they came for. Because here's the thing. People who disrespect you are usually looking for control. They want to shake you up. Make you feel small. But when you give them nothing, not even a word, it flips the script. That silence becomes louder than any comeback. It unsettles them. It exposes them. I remember once being in a room with someone who wouldn't stop talking over me. Every time I opened my mouth, he'd cut in like what I had to say didn't matter. I tried the usual. Smiling. Waiting. Being polite. He didn't care. So I leaned back. Crossed my arms. Locked eyes with him. And I said absolutely nothing. I just stared. 5 seconds of total silence. And you could feel the energy shift. He started fumbling. Lost his words. Looked away. That one moment told him more than any argument ever could. And from that day, he treated me differently. More cautiously. With respect. Because here's what people don't realize. Silence is powerful. Especially when paired with presence. That stare says, I see what you're doing. I'm not impressed. And I'm not playing your game. It draws a line without a single word. It tells the room you're grounded. Confident. Unbothered. And you'd be amazed how fast people back off when they realize you're not someone to mess with. This isn't about being cold. It's about owning your space. It's about choosing not to engage with someone's chaos. Because when you stay silent and still, you show strength. You show control. And most importantly, you remind yourself that your worth isn't up for debate. You don't owe a performance to anyone. So next time someone disrespects you, don't explain. Don't react. Just look at them. Let that silence do the work. Let that stare speak for you. You'll be surprised how loud quiet can be. Part 2. Embrace silence as your answer. You know what's wild? Most people are terrified of silence. Not the kind you get when you're alone with your thoughts, but the kind that shows up in a conversation when someone disrespects you and you give them nothing back. No reaction. No defense. Just stillness. It messes with them. Completely. Because deep down, they expected you to flinch, to fight back, to justify yourself. They expected access to your emotions, your energy, your peace. But when you choose silence, you're choosing power. You're telling them without a single word that their opinion holds no weight in your world. And let me be honest with you, this didn't come naturally to me. I used to feel like I had to explain myself, like silence meant I was weak or unsure. But every time I explained, every time I tried to make someone else feel better about what I chose, I walked away feeling smaller. Drained. Like I gave away something I couldn't get back. So one day I made a decision. I stopped feeding disrespect with my energy. I stopped rewarding people who only showed up to push my buttons. I remember this one guy, always tossing little jabs disguised as jokes, waiting for me to play along. But one day, he dropped a line meant to embarrass me in front of others, and I just sat there. I looked at him, expressionless, and I said nothing. The room went quiet. He laughed alone. Then he looked confused. Then he looked nervous. That silence said more than any comeback ever could. It said, "You don't get to control how I feel. You don't get a reaction." And after that, he never tried it again. That's the thing about silence. It's sharp. It's uncomfortable. It reflects their behavior back to them like a mirror, and most people hate what they see. Because without your energy to distract them, all they're left with is themselves. When you stay quiet, you're not avoiding the issue. You're setting the boundary. You're showing that not everything deserves an answer. And it's more than just a tactic. It's a mindset. It's the realization that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every opinion is yours to carry. And not every disrespect needs a response. You start valuing your peace. You stop giving out free explanations to people who wouldn't even care about the truth. And something changes. You begin to feel stronger, lighter, clearer. You realize your silence is sacred. You start guarding it like a king guards his crown. So the next time someone throws that subtle dig, or that fake laugh with a hidden insult underneath, I want you to pause. Don't get flustered. Don't chase the urge to correct them. Just pause, breathe, and say nothing. Let them sit with it. Let them stew in the silence. Because that silence is your power. That silence is your control. That silence is the space where self-respect grows. And when you master that, when you stop speaking just to fill the void, you begin to command every room you walk into without needing to raise your voice. You become the calmest presence in the storm. And that kind of energy, that unshakable calm, it shakes people more than any argument ever could. Part 3. Stop explaining your choices. Let's talk about something you might be doing without even realizing how much it's draining you. Explaining yourself. Just think about how many times you've made a decision that felt right to you, only to have someone immediately ask why. Why didn't you show up? Why are you changing jobs? Why did you say no? And you feel cornered, like you have to justify your every move just to be taken seriously. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. This one's personal for me. I used to be the kind of person who'd give a whole speech just to justify the smallest decision. I'd break down my logic, try to make people understand, and still walk away feeling like I had something to prove. One day, I made a bold move. I left a job that looked perfect on paper, but was slowly draining the life out of me. The questions poured in. Why would you do that? What's your plan? At first, I tried explaining. I'd talk about long-term goals, my search for purpose, all of it. But no matter how well I laid it out, it never felt like enough. Then I stopped. The next time someone asked, I simply said, because it felt right. That silence afterwards, that pause where they expected more and got nothing, that was the shift. They didn't know what to do with that. And neither did I at first. But it felt powerful. Freeing. Like I had finally reclaimed something that was always mine. The truth is, when someone asks you to explain your choices, they're not always curious. Sometimes they're projecting their own fears, their own discomfort with risk or change. Your decision makes them question theirs. So they poke, hoping you'll slip up and give them a reason to stay in their comfort zone. But you don't have to play that game. Your life is not a group project. It's not a debate. It's yours. Every time you explain a personal choice just to earn approval, you chip away at your own confidence. But when you stop explaining, when you stand firm and simply say this is what I chose, you send a message. A message that says I know who I am, and I don't need your permission to live that truth. And here's the real power. The more you stop justifying, the more people start respecting your space. The noise quiets down. The questions fade. You realize that confidence isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about being at peace with your own path. So next time someone presses you to explain your life choices, try something different. Smile. Say because it felt right. And walk away. No extra words. No apology. Just quiet strength. That's how you protect your peace. That's how you hold the pen to your own story. Part 4. Keep your distance. Let's be honest, sometimes the most powerful response you can give to someone who keeps disrespecting you is distance. Not revenge, not confrontation, not even a clever comeback. Just space. And I'm not talking about making a big dramatic scene or cutting people off with a grand speech. I'm talking about something quieter, something more powerful. Choosing to step back. I used to think that giving someone less of my time meant I was being rude or selfish. Especially if they were a close friend or family member. But over time, I learned something important. If someone constantly makes you feel small, if they cross your boundaries, drain your energy or leave you doubting your worth, you are not obligated to keep giving them access to your life. Your energy is limited. Your peace is priceless. And not everyone deserves front row seats to your world. There was someone in my life who always had something negative to say. Little jabs wrapped in jokes, backhanded compliments that felt more like digs. I kept making excuses for them. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. But the truth was, every time I left a conversation with them, I felt smaller. So I made a choice. I didn't confront them. I didn't announce anything. I just slowly created space. Less time together. Fewer conversations. And something incredible happened. I felt lighter. My thoughts were clearer. I laughed more. I stopped walking on eggshells. That distance gave me clarity. It reminded me that protecting your space isn't cold. It's healthy. It's a form of self-respect. People will tell you to be forgiving, to keep the peace. But ask yourself, at what cost? If keeping someone close means constantly feeling drained or disrespected, that is not peace. That's emotional burnout. Distance lets you breathe. It gives you room to grow. It shows the other person that you won't tolerate being treated as less. And more importantly, it reminds you that you matter. That your needs, your mental health, and your happiness are worth protecting. You're not being unkind by taking a step back. You're being brave. You're drawing a line. And sometimes, the strongest way to say enough is with silence and space. So if there's someone in your life who consistently makes you feel less than, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, do they really deserve this much access to me? And if the answer is no, start creating that space. Quietly. Confidently. You'll be amazed at how powerful it feels to simply walk away from what no longer serves you. Part 5. Hold your head high. Here's one you've probably heard before, but let me say it again because it never stops being true. When someone disrespects you, the one thing they're hoping to take from you is your confidence. They want you to shrink, to lower your gaze, to question your worth. And the most defiant, powerful thing you can do in that moment is to hold your head high. I don't mean just physically, though that's part of it. I mean walking through the world like you know exactly who you are and you're not asking for permission to be that person. Confidence like that is magnetic, and let me tell you, it unsettles people who thrive on control. I've seen it happen more than once. I used to deal with someone who always made subtle jabs whenever we met. Nothing obvious, just enough to sting. For a while, I tried ignoring it, brushing it off, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did. Until one day I showed up differently. Shoulders back. Head high. And every time they tried to tear me down, I looked them in the eye and kept walking. No reaction, no explanation. Just calm confidence. And it threw them off completely. Their words stopped landing because I stopped receiving them. That's the real secret. When you know your worth, their disrespect doesn't stick. You become untouchable, not because you're arrogant, but because you're rooted in self-respect. Holding your head high tells the world you're not playing small anymore. You're not letting anyone's opinion define your value. And when you live like that, something amazing happens. The disrespect fades into background noise, and you start attracting people who see your worth, who lift you higher instead of pulling you down. So the next time someone tries to make you feel small, straighten up. Breathe deep. Look forward, not down. Let your posture say what words never could. You are enough. You've always been enough. And nothing they say can change that. Remember, respect starts with how you treat yourself. Everything else follows. And that wraps it up. If you felt something shift while watching this, if even one part of this helped you stand taller or see things more clearly, I'd be grateful if you hit the like button. And if you want more real talk like this, more content to help you protect your peace and own your power, consider subscribing to Stoic Legacy. It helps the channel grow and reach more people who need to hear this. Share this with someone who could use a reminder of their worth. And drop a comment if you've ever had to reclaim your space or set a boundary with someone who didn't respect you. Your story might help someone else. Stay strong. Stay grounded. And as always, stay stoic and build your stoic legacy.